The fluorescent lights of the conference room hummed, a soundtrack to my professional execution. One minute I was presenting Q3 projections, the next. HR Lady Brenda's giving me the restructuring speech. Restructuring my ass. They were shedding payroll. 10 years as a loyal VP, down the drain. The words blurred, severance package. Non-disclosure, all meaningless noise. My head swam. Sarah was going to kill me. We just bought the condo. I tried to focus, nodding like I understood, but all I could think was, asterisk shit. What am I going to tell her? Asterisk, this was more than just a job. It was our foundation. That night, I braced for impact, picturing a screaming match about finances. Instead, Sarah met me with a hug. It's okay, babe, she said. We'll figure it out. Relief washed over me. For a week, she was amazing. Home-cooked meals, pep talks, even suggesting a fun employment vacation. But then, the cracks started to show. Little things, like sighing when the takeout menu came out, or spending hours on her phone, a slight frown on her face. I just chalked it up to stress, but deep down, something felt off. Then came the treat-yourself justification. New shoes, a designer bag, retail therapy, she called it. The credit card bill arrived, a monster compared to usual. It's just temporary, she'd say, flashing that smile that used to melt me. I remember thinking, okay, she deserves it. Work's stressful. Looking back, I was such a goddamn idiot. I was so busy trying to be supportive, to not be that guy complaining about her spending, that I completely ignored the flashing warning signs. A glimmer of hope flickered when I landed an interview at a competitor. I told Sarah, expecting excitement. Instead, a strained smile. That's great, honey. Later, as I prepped, she'd casually mention, are you sure it's the right fit? The commute's long. Or, they've had layoffs too, haven't they? Subtle digs, designed to undermine my confidence. I brushed it off then, thinking she was just worried. But now, I see it for what it was, sabotage. The interview went nowhere. More layoffs were coming. They said, back to square one. That's when Mark entered the picture. Just a colleague, Sarah would say. We're just grabbing drinks after work to de-stress. Mark this, mark that. He was always conveniently around. Looking back, I should have put my foot down. But I trusted her, or at least, I wanted to. You know how it is. You want to believe the best in people, especially the woman you love. Then, the gym phase began. Suddenly, Sarah was a fitness fanatic. New workout clothes, protein shakes, early morning gym sessions. Gotta take care of myself, she'd say, flexing an arm muscle that was definitely more toned than before. I was happy for her, honestly. I thought, good for her, she's focusing on her health. What I didn't realize was that self-care often translates to upgrading in the female world. We'd planned a weekend getaway to Napa, booked the hotel, made reservations at a fancy restaurant. Then, the day before, oh, honey, I'm so sorry, but Mark needs me to cover for him. Big project deadline. The disappointment hit hard, but I didn't want to seem needy. It's okay, I said, forcing a smile. Work comes first, but the distance between us was growing. A chasm filled with unspoken doubts and rationalizations. I hate myself for this, but I snooped. Sarah left her phone on the counter. A text from Mark flashed. Had a great time last night, winky face. My stomach dropped. I unlocked the phone. I know, wrong move, and scrolled through the messages. Nothing explicit, but definitely suggestive. Inside jokes, late-night emojis. A palpable flirtation. The air in the room thickened. It wasn't just drinks. It was a betrayal. That night, I tried to talk to her. Sarah, we need to talk about Mark. She rolled her eyes. Oh, here we go again. You're being paranoid. I showed her the texts. It's just banter, John. You're making a big deal out of nothing. Can't I have friends? The gaslighting was masterful. I started to question myself. Was I overreacting? Was I becoming that insecure boyfriend? Maybe she was right. 2 weeks later, she dropped the bomb. I need space, John. I'm not happy. This isn't working. The timing was impeccable, wasn't it? The moment I was at my lowest, unemployed and vulnerable. Looking back, it was a calculated move. She'd lined up her replacement and was ready to eject. I was too blindsided to see it then. I just remember the hollow ache in my chest as she packed her bags. The next few months were a blur. Shock. Anger. Then a slow, creeping depression. The condo felt empty, a constant reminder of what I'd lost. Job applications went unanswered. The bills piled up. I started questioning everything. Was I not good enough? Was I too boring? The financial strain was immense. I ended up selling the condo at a loss, a final blow to my pride. I was officially rock bottom. But rock bottom is a solid foundation, right? I started small, delivering pizzas, landscaping, anything to pay the bills. The humiliation stung, but it was fuel. I was determined to prove her wrong. To prove everyone wrong. I started networking again, cold calling, leveraging every contact I had. I was relentless. I slept on a friend's couch, ate ramen, sacrificed everything. But I had a fire in my belly, a burning desire to rebuild. It was during one of those late-night ramen sessions that the idea struck me. I remembered the pain of navigating the job market after being laid off, the outdated resources, the lack of support. What if there was a platform that streamlined the process, offered personalized career coaching, and connected people with relevant opportunities? A tech solution born from my own misery. The more I thought about it, the more it clicked. The next few years were a blur of coding, pitching, and grinding. Sleepless nights fueled by caffeine and sheer willpower. Rejections from investors, technical glitches, marketing failures. Moments where I wanted to give up, crawl into a hole, and disappear. But then, a small victory. A positive review, a new client, a seed funding round. Slow, incremental progress. Inching my way back from the abyss. It was a goddamn war of attrition. Fast forward 10 years. The company, Phoenix Careers, was a force to be reckoned with. We were disrupting the industry, landing major contracts, and expanding globally. I was financially secure, successful, and, frankly, a completely different person. I learned to trust my gut, to prioritize my own well-being, and to recognize the red flags I'd ignored before. And I'd done it all on my own. No handouts, no compromises. Just pure, unadulterated hustle. Then, Brenda from HR walked into my office. A file in hand. John, we have an interesting application for the senior marketing manager position. She paused, a knowing smile on her face. A Sarah Miller. My blood ran cold. Sarah? After all this time, the irony was so thick, you could cut it with a knife. I had to see this. Set up the interview, Brenda. I said, trying to sound nonchalant. I'll handle it personally. She raised an eyebrow, but didn't argue. I needed to see her, to understand what she was thinking. Was this some kind of power play? Did she even recognize me? A cocktail of curiosity, anger, and a strange desire for closure churned within me. This was going to be interesting, to say the least. She walked into my office, looking, well, let's just say 10 years hadn't been kind. The confident glint in her I was gone, replaced by a weary resignation. She didn't recognize me at first. I introduced myself as John Smith, CEO of Phoenix Careers. The interview began, and soon enough, she started spinning her story. It was a difficult time, she said, her voice laced with self-pity. John's unemployment put a strain on everything. I just needed to. That's when it hit me. The entitlement, the lack of accountability, the subtle manipulation, even after all these years. It was all there, laid bare in her words, her tone, her body language. I saw the same patterns I'd ignored a decade ago, amplified by desperation. The poor me routine, the shifting of blame, the complete lack of self-awareness. I was finally seeing her for who she truly was. Then, the kicker. Mark and I have been together ever since, she said casually, adjusting her resume. He's been such a support. It was like a punch to the gut, even after all this time. So it was true. The affair I'd suspected, the betrayal I'd rationalized away, confirmed in the most nonchalant way possible. The irony was almost comical. "Thank you for your time, Ms. Miller," I said, standing up. "We'll be in touch." She seemed hopeful, oblivious to the fact that I knew everything. A week later, she received the standard rejection email. "While your experience is impressive," it read, "we've decided to move forward with candidates who have more relevant experience in the tech sector." A subtle jab, a little karma, perfectly executed. I watched her leave the building from my office window. Shoulders slumped, her steps heavy with disappointment. A wave of something washed over me. Not triumph, not vindication, not even anger. Just a profound sense of indifference. She was a stranger, a ghost from a past I'd outgrown. The pain, the betrayal, the struggle, it had all been worth it. I was free. I thought about all the times I'd put her needs before mine, the career opportunities I'd sacrificed, the emotional labor I'd poured into the relationship. I was so naive, so eager to please. But I wouldn't make those mistakes again. From that day forward, I vowed to prioritize myself, to trust my instincts, and to never again ignore the red flags waving in my face. I understood then the importance of self-reliance, of building your own empire, of not depending on anyone else for your happiness or success. The MGDOW philosophy resonated deeply, not out of bitterness, but out of a hard-earned wisdom. A realization that true freedom comes from within, from mastering your own destiny, and from understanding the true nature of modern relationships. Now, I have choices. I travel the world, invest wisely, and mentor young entrepreneurs. My time is my own. No more emotional roller coasters, no more financial anxieties, just peace of mind. That hard-earned success, that freedom from dependence is the ultimate revenge. And honestly, it's a hell of a lot more satisfying than any petty act of vengeance. These days, my dating life is, well, let's just say it's strategic. I've seen enough to fill a textbook on female behavior. The profile's promising adventure, but demanding financial stability. The independent women expecting you to pay for everything. The sob stories designed to elicit sympathy and a loan. It's a goddamn circus out there. But hey, at least it's entertaining. Later that week, I met up with Mark and Dave at our usual spot. Told them the whole story, from the layoff to the interview. They were howling with laughter, slapping me on the back. "Dude, that's some serious karma." Mark choked out between guffaws. It felt good to share it, to have their support, to know they understood the absurdity of it all. Real male friendship. You can't put a price on that. So, what's next? More growth for Phoenix Careers, more adventures, more time with my friends. Maybe I'll find a woman who appreciates my independence, or maybe I won't. Either way, I'm good. I control my own destiny now. No bitterness, no regrets, just a quiet confidence in the future. And that, my friends, is a victory worth celebrating. I heard through the grapevine, a mutual friend, that Sarah and Mark were having a rough time. Apparently, his business venture had tanked, and they were struggling financially. Serves him right. The cheating bastard. While I wouldn't wish outright misery on anyone, there's a certain satisfaction in knowing that life has a funny way of balancing the scales. What goes around, comes around. You know? So, to all the guys out there who've been through similar shit, learn from my mistakes. Trust your gut. Prioritize yourself. Recognize the red flags before they turn into deal breakers. And remember, your worth isn't defined by a relationship. Build your own empire. Find your own happiness. And never, ever let anyone dim your shine. You got this.